going on, everybody? It's your main man, Big Ive, the talk of the town, Mr. Positivity, Mr. DETV, and welcome back. And this episode is powered by the Wilmington Public Library. They're doing amazing things in the community, and it's my job to make sure you know what's going on, all right? So first of all, I have to say today is a very, very special day. I get to sit here with the crew that inspired almost every black person to go to a HBCU. That's right. The Hillman crew are in the building. I'm so excited. I can't even freaking talk. I can't talk. No.
Positivity is not Mr. Communication.
And as you know, that is Ron Johnson, everybody. Ron Johnson. I'm here with the cast of A Different World. Everyone, thank you so much for coming to Delaware. We really, really appreciate all of you more than you can imagine. And I'm going to make this real fun. What was your best episode on A Different World?
That's going to be 5 different answers.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Go.
I know, we're the same. Yeah. Definitely No Means No, the date rape episode with Ty Mock. At the time, we had just identified date rape. We weren't even calling it that. It had no name, and women in campuses all over the place were getting things done to them, and it had no definition. So that was very poignant. And then also the scene that I had with Kadeem at the end, because he comes and saves Freddie, and I just say to him, I'm going to start crying. I say thank you for being my friend. And it's just, even when I see it on TV or just think about it, it tenderizes me, because it was such a reflection of our relationship and how familial this cast is and how we take care of each other.
Yeah, mine is probably that one and Cats in the Cradle, which was where we got put in the jail in the, they spray painted the N-word on Ron Johnson's car, and we both had different stories, different sides of how we saw that same incident, and the conversation and the listening that went on in the episode was really what made it special for me.
Yeah. Their choices are deep. Mine was just fun. The 3 Girls 3, where Jasmine and I got to be Pips with Gladys Knight, Love Overboard. Gladys. Woo. Okay, so that was just so much fun, to get to work with someone who has inspired me and probably all of us through the music industry, through her grace, through her longevity in her career, and for her to be such a down-to-earth person and embrace us. We had so much fun performing with an icon. You guys are celebrating us, but we had the opportunity to celebrate so many amazing people that guest starred on our show, and it was just a whole lot of fun to be able to sing with Gladys. It was a blast.
Gladys?
Okay, we Gladys. Whoo!
All right.
Jing-a-ding. Jing-a-ding.
What was your favorite episode?
I need a minute.
Okay.
Come back to me.
Okay, all right.
And I'm Cats in the Cradle with Kadeem, and one of the interesting things for our show was that we were a situation comedy, but we dealt with so many heavy subjects. And it's one of the things that you find that really difficult subjects become approachable through humor. And our show did that in ways that had not been done before with a lot of really difficult subjects, from AIDS to homelessness to gun violence to riots. I think in the Cats in the Cradle, I just watched it recently, in the cold opening of that show, you see Ron and the other guys who've been, detained and handcuffed. And Ron looks at this other guy and just says, "Drop dead." That's how the show opened. That's not a typical sitcom opening. You're like, what are we in store for? And I remember also that it was the AIDS episode that came with a warning that tonight we're going to deal with. It was the AIDS episode, I think, and the date rape show, that we're going to be dealing with sensitive subject matter that may not be appropriate for young children, so parents should be advised. And that was also a product of Debbie Allen, of Susan Fales Hill, our executive producer and head showrunner, as well as Dr. Poussaint, who consulted on A Different World to really look at the images and how we were influencing Black culture. It was by design and deliberate, and that's one of the reasons I believe so much of A Different World remains evergreen, because there's almost any subject of relevant conversation today there's an episode of A Different World that will address it. You could switch the 8 episodes and put in COVID. It doesn't change the thing.
And Roe v. Wade.
Nothing.
With Charlie's character.
Yes.
And see how things have changed. You see just about anything and everything on TV these days. We had to go through so many checks and balances. Remember that episode, the AIDS episode? We couldn't show a condom.
That's right.
We had to refer to
No, we
it
had to point
into.
to
We had
it
to
in
point
purse.
to it in your purse.
The
And
person with AIDS had to be a woman.
Yes.
yeah,
They had all these weird rules. Like,
Yeah.
we don't want them to do an AIDS episode, basically. That's what NBC is saying. We want them to be funny.
Right.
And to get that AIDS episode done, Bill Cosby had to be on the set. Debbie Allen had to get Whoopi Goldberg. We had to get a female HIV as opposed to gay.
Right.
I was like, well, what are they afraid of? Are they afraid of the disease, or are they afraid of homosexuality? Or yes.
They were
And then the whole condom, the whole random, you can say condom but no show condom. It just made me feel like we were always being controlled. First of all, you have us on a college campus. This is when young people should be thinking.
Right.
And then you're treating them like they're in 7th grade. You know, they need to be thinking and questioning. And I love that show brought in so many different perspectives, you know. But it wasn't easy to get done at that time.
And one of the things that is really important to remember, A Different World wasn't the number 2 black show on television. It was the number 2 show on all of television. So all of white America was watching too. They were getting educated at the same time and were fans, because you don't get 30 million people with just Black America. So that's one of the really, positive things that, we still go to schools that aren't HBCUs, but they were fans of the show as well. So
And generations, not just schools.
yeah, now it's their kids.
Aunties, but even when we were doing the show, because the show had something for everyone. You had Mr. Gaines' character, you had Glenn's character, you had all of these people. There was someone for everyone to see themselves on our show. Different shades, different ages, different backgrounds, different socioeconomic realities, and it was beautiful to represent that palette, because there are a lot of popular shows out there that don't represent that palette. It's like, how can you be in New York City and there are no people of color? There are no this, there are no that. You know what I'm saying? So it was a pleasure to be in that
Now for
environment.
question number 2.
Question number
My
2.
time is up. I want to give it to my people that are here, but I want to say, look, we really, Black America, speaking on the delegation of Black folks, we want to say, that's it. That's all I got. I get one. And then
Wait a minute.
I got 2.
Wait a minute.
I got another one. Okay, then we'll give me
Princess
another
said
one.
you get another one.
You know I'm thinking of when I say you got one. I'm thinking of Maynard.
Where we are right now, as in the industry with a lot of Black people, right? Back then, it like you said, you couldn't talk about things. But right now, can you talk to the people, to us, and let us know how important it is to see Black faces, positive faces, in front of the camera right now during this time in life? Because you guys fought a heck of a fight, and I saw season 1, and I heard about how things changed from season 1 to season 2, 3, 4, and 5. But moving forward as Black people, brown people, how important is it for us to see us in front of the camera?
I think it's always important to be able to see faces that look like yours. So that matters. It's what's most impressionable. And certainly television, even more so than film, you're in someone's living room every day. So you have the ability to influence on a more consistent basis than does a film, because you have to, generally, you're going to a movie theater to see a film. But one of the things that impacts the faces you see on camera are the faces that are behind the camera. So what you're seeing it transformative in the landscape of entertainment now, when Jordan Peele is directing, horror films, and you're seeing more faces of color. That The Woman King with Gina Prince Blythewood, and you're looking at Ryan Coogler with Black Panther. All of this is representative of creative people and executive producers behind the camera that are putting our people out and telling stories of people of color in unique and different ways.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that perspective. Thank you so much for you guys. All right. It's your main man, Big Ive, talking to town, DETV, CH.com. Make sure you check it out for more of what's going on in Delaware. I'll see you on the other side.
You got some you got like 10 handles. You got 10 titles. It's like, hear ye. Talking to town, Mr. Positivity.